Welcome back to Tech Talks from Commercial Baking. I'm your host, Joni Spencer. In this episode, sponsored by Pacteon, I am speaking with Jamie Barber, Director of Product Development, about the latest advances in automated palletizing technology. Hi, Jamie. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi, Joni. Thanks for having me.
So, this is an interesting topic that I don't often get to dive into with palletizing. So, I just want to start by looking at what some of the most common challenges are in the packaging area for bakeries, because it seems like palletizing is a pretty common need, regardless of an operation size. But what are some of those specific challenges that come with maybe a specific product type or a package type or even operation size? What are some of those needs that come out of that area?
Yeah, I think a common theme today is the variety, right? Everybody's seeing it. Manufacturers are challenged by it. Consumers are looking for varieties in packaging sizes, types, and even sustainability today, right? There's more eco-friendly packages being developed. So it's a constantly changing environment and landscape. So your equipment really needs to be able to adapt to that.
It's funny that you mentioned eco-friendly because when you change a material type, sometimes that can have a huge impact on the operation because it might be softer than the operations used to, or harder, or it might be more difficult to machine. So I can see where that would become sort of an issue when you get to the palletizer.
Yeah, for sure. We use a lot of vacuum systems when we pick and place product and manipulate it. So that's always a key factor. Can you use those type of systems? Do you have to use some other style, like a mechanical gripper or even a combination of the two? And then you always have that variety of, mix versus volume that you have to consider. And, are you looking for a very flexible solution or a very fast, efficient solution?
So, okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. So, Pacteon, you do have this full suite of automated pelletizing options, and there are a lot of different types of automated machinery that you offer. So, how are the specific technologies sort of matched up for a type of operation? Obviously, size and throughput are going to be big factors, but how do things like product type or even the market, like if they are shipping product to a food service operator versus a C store, how do those kinds of things come into play with the different types of equipment that you offer?
I think we've done a good job in the industry to create one of the widest variety of pelletizing portfolios out there. We definitely have everything ranging from your very small, efficient, compact cobots to large central pelletizing systems or even high-speed pelletizing systems and everything in between. So we really do take a look at what the manufacturer's requirements are, or whether they are looking at high volume homogeneous SKUs that maybe they only run a few, but they run high volumes, or they're more in a retail or grocery space where it's just really flexibility they're looking for. In our portfolio, we like to start with the simple cobots, right? And they're small, portable, intuitive, compact. They can really be maneuvered around your facility as much as you need to. And then from there, we expand into industrial applications, but we also have very small compact units such as our Robox palletizer from Schneider. That's very similar to the Cobot, just a bit more capable, right? But it's very compact, portable, efficient. And then from there, we just continue to scale up. We have a range of pre-configured palletizers you can order that we've taken a lot of engineering out of. And if the floor plans and footprints fit your layout, we can get them to you in quicker lead time than our typical engineered to order palletizers. But from there, we would scale up into fully customized engineered to order solutions. We can then roll into different types of high speed layer palletizers or look at wide range of conveyance options to pull your products into one centralized area and really develop a centralized solution for you around pelletizing.
So this really is something that you can dial in pretty specifically. So if you are a really large scale manufacturer, they can have it customized, or if they're a smaller operation, I just love the cobots because they are like the late adopter's best friend. It's a great way to sort of take that first step into robotic automation, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. It's an excellent, like, low barrier to entry, really, to get your feet wet with robotics and robotic palletizing. They're really easy to use. They take up really small spaces, and you can really take a look at them for, that small investment to get you going. Especially if you were a smaller producer, right? And you might not have the capital expense to spend on the larger projects.
And then you mentioned, that you have the smaller robots that are good for larger throughput with a smaller footprint. It seems like there might be a little bit of overlap there. What what's the difference between a cobot and a small robot?
Yeah, so the cobots are a collaborative robot that is inherently safe to work around as a human being. The robot itself it comes from the factory with an additional suite of safety sensors and options that allow you to safely work around it. Now, where the manufacturer or integrator comes into play is we then have to make the entire solution collaborative. It does lend itself to, again, that easier barrier for even integrators and manufacturers to do it, because in palletizing, there's not a lot of moving parts when you're thinking about those simple operations like a vacuum pick and place. We really take a safety first approach when we're talking about collaborative applications at Pacteon. We want to make sure we've looked at the total requirements of the application, right, including the products we're handling. So it's more than just what equipment are we supplying, but it's how it's being used. So we really walk our customers through that path, and we'll show them the industrial solutions and the collaborative solutions, and really emphasize this is what makes it safe. This is where we're kind of on the fringe, and we may be hitting rates or capacities with weight, or even like the height of the pallet becomes a concern. On an industrial robot, right, it's completely fenced and enclosed. If you have a tall pallet and you're then moving maybe a 30 or 40-pound case, and you don't want those hovering over people's heads with no fencing around, right? So that's where I emphasize, like, we take that safety first approach and look at the entire solution, look at the workflow of your people throughout the workspace, in your plant and in your facility. So we take that holistic approach because in the end, we want to make sure every employee is safe working around collaborative applications. So
Absolutely. Okay, so there's something else that I'm really curious about. I think this is a pretty cool technology that Pacteon has, and that is the Opti Stack. This allows operators to change pallet configurations right from the HMI. It really seems like a game changer for labor and efficiency when looking at those types of changeovers where you have to change the configuration. Can you walk me through how it works?
on the HMI, there's a lot of screens and guidance to allow you to create new palette patterns, modify existing palette patterns, and it's very intuitive in the sense that we give you all the helper aids right on the HMI. So even if you've never done it before, there's instructions that guide you step by step through the process. Once you've done it once or twice, it's very seamless to do. Like I said, even your first time, you can just turn on or off the step by step guidance, and it really walks you through it.
Well, that's a pretty short learning curve.
Yes, very short learning curve, and it gives them that flexibility they need to create new patterns or to make adjustments. This comes standard in all of our industrial palletizers.
It's also that's so cool. Okay, I have one last question. And how does Pacteon's palletizing equipment integrate with other packaging technology? This is such an important area of the operation. So, how do your robots and other technologies kind of play with other pieces of equipment in the packaging area?
Yeah, I think they play well. I've had years and years of experience and to learn and dial in a lot of the methodology around integration with other equipment, integration with facilities. So we really do take it case by case, but we look at every scenario, and built into our equipment is some basic integration for line control. So you can have upstream and downstream equipment seamlessly talk across the line. And then we do look at it with our customers as well. Do they want to connect it to their facility? Do they want to connect it to a cloud? Do they want us to monitor it remotely? So yeah, we have all those options in place. And we really understand that a lot of the key to that is just clear communication and documentation along the way, and making sure all the stakeholders are brought in so everybody's on the same page.
Right. All right. Well, listen, Jamie, could sit here and ask you a million questions all day long. There's so much to learn in this area that I think often gets taken for granted. So I'm just going to ask you one last question, and that is, how can a baker get in touch with Pacteon to really dive into this technology and see what's right for them?
Yeah, so first stop would be visit our website, Pacteon.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Pacteon, or any of the Pacteon Group companies, Schneider Packaging Equipment, Descon Conveyor Systems, ESS Technologies, and Phoenix Stretch Wrap Systems.
Great. Jamie, thanks so much for taking time to talk to me today. This was really interesting.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.